As MAGA continues to melt down in response to the Trump administration's Jeffrey Epstein debacle, former shadow president and leader now of the America Party, Elon Musk, is using the opportunity to relentlessly hammer Donald Trump and his top allies. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, there's this notion that you should never let a crisis go to waste, and Elon Musk appears to be taking advantage of that as the backlash against Trump, and in particular, his Attorney General Pam Bondi from MAGA, continues to escalate. So Elon Musk gets really blunt. He says, how can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files? Now, of course, Elon Musk is also the person who said about a month ago that Donald Trump was in the Epstein files, and that was the reason why they weren't being released. Now, somebody responded to Musk saying, will exposing the Epstein files rank high on the America Party's list? Musk responded with 100%. As a matter of fact, if you look at Elon Musk's Twitter page, he is just being relentless about what the America Party, this new political party that he has founded, will or will not do. I will also point out that Musk is continuing his feud with MAGA podcaster and MAGA strategist Steve Bannon by alleging it's Steve Bannon who's implicated in the Epstein files. Don't know if that's true or not, but it seems like Elon is looking forward to really throwing some fire at the Trump coalition. He also, set Epstein aside for the moment, he also attacked Trump with respect to his hypocrisy on Doge. He says, what the heck was the point of Doge if Trump is just going to increase the debt by $5 trillion? That's a really good point. Doge was a calamitous failure. That's what Musk doesn't want to acknowledge. He burned a lot of goodwill with his disastrous and callous and reckless mismanagement of the Doge mission. But to the extent that it had any savings whatsoever, Trump effectively vaporized those with his massively expensive One Big Beautiful Bill, which did indeed, or will indeed, add between $3 to $4 trillion to the national debt, and included a $5 trillion debt ceiling expansion, all of which was simply to pay for Trump's making permanent the tax cuts from the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which was like basically the only piece of legislation Trump got through, at least the biggest piece. I would argue the First Step Act was probably the only good thing Trump did legislatively during his first year in office. Well, I guess I also count the COVID relief packages as well, which were bipartisan. But the point is, like, Trump's signature legislation during his first term was that tax cut for the rich, which was set to expire, and it added trillions of dollars to the debt. It didn't pay for himself. Well, Trump is expanding the debt and the deficit. It's a fiscally irresponsible bill, all for, the purpose of making rich people richer. And so, when Elon says, what was the point? It's a good point to bring up. Trump is trying to have it both ways. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth. Now, with respect to Musk's electoral strategy for the America Party, he says backing a candidate for president is not out of the question, but the focus for the next 12 months is on the House and the Senate. Okay, so his notion is like, listen, we're not going to try to run for president. We're just going to try to flip a couple of critical House districts. Now, again, I suppose it's possible that could be harmful to the Democrats, given the tight margins. But my gut says that this would be more harmful to the Republicans, because people who are predisposed to join the America Party are probably conservative, right, or more aligned with the Trump coalition. Now, even if they don't run for president, if Musk uses his, extraordinary wealth as the richest man on Earth, and the fact that he has a very influential social media platform, it's entirely possible that he could have some sort of outcome determinative spoiler effect on some of these key races in a way that could flip control of the House or the Senate. And that's what he's banking on, to try to use this as a threat, to have leverage, I think, probably over Democrats, but more likely over Republicans. He says the fundamental impediment to stop shutting down many of the fraudulent NGOs was that some Republicans were in on the crime. Read that statement again. So again, he's throwing a firecracker in there, accusing Republicans of corruption as he sees it, talking about the mission of Doge, shutting down fraudulent NGOs, right, that were, in Elon Musk's estimation, consuming taxpayer dollars. Like, that was the whole charge behind Doge attacking USAID and trying to shut it down. Well, what Musk is saying is, well, it just wasn't just Democrats, it was also Republicans as well. So again, he's taking a much more hostile tact with the Republican Party, which was his power base until just a month ago. Somebody responded to Elon Musk saying, many told you that Trump will use you for his benefit and drop you right after, but you didn't want to hear it. Doge has been nothing else than an intended public distraction, and you helped him very much to implement it successfully. Trump had never the slightest interest to reduce the U.S. debt or reduce its increase, but to eliminate political opponents and create the impression he's doing something while he worked on what matters to him, which is the bill. I wish you would have listened to all the voices that tried to open your eyes, but you've been blindly following him and achieved the opposite of what you stand for, to which Musk responded with like a shame emoji, looking down in shame. So he seems to be acknowledging the fact that Donald Trump was using him for political benefit, and that Trump, of course, had no ideological consistency with Musk. Now, they shared some things in common. They're both thin-skinned, malignant narcissists at the head of cult followings, but that was the extent of it. Trump is not particularly ideological, and I think Musk is. Trump is not. He's merely a narcissist who wanted to stay out of jail. Also, Musk continued his attack on the Republican Party by responding to this meme. The people saying Elon should just work on making the Republican Party better are the same ones who've been calling to primary the few Republicans who want a smaller government. And Musk responded with a right on target. Musk also responded with this: we will release the Epstein list. We would just need more time. The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no Epstein list. Now, again, if you go back and look at Musk's Twitter page, he's also he's attacking Attorney General Pam Bondi in particular, and retweeting even like Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks as well. I don't need a client list. People were paid to victimize children. Who were they exactly? Again, he's just laying in on the Epstein thing in particular, using this to exploit divisions within the Republican Party. And again, no sympathy for the Republicans or Trump on this, because they set themselves up for abject failure by touting this in the first place. Now, as Elon Musk prepares, again, at least for the time being, his third party bid to upset the balance between Republicans and Democrats, his former political ally, Ron DeSantis, well, he's actually speaking out against the effort, which makes sense because Ron DeSantis is somebody who, this is the governor of Florida. He, even though he failed abysmally to unseat Trump in the Republican primary last year and the year before, DeSantis understands politics in a way that Musk does not. So he says, quote, I think Elon Musk has been, one of the most innovative entrepreneurs, not just in our country's history, but probably in world history. And I think he's done a lot. I think he's got a lot more left in the tank, obviously. I've been a big supporter of the idea of Doge because the federal government's spending way too much money. We've adopted that in Florida, even though we have a budget surplus and are paying down the debt. We have the second lowest spending per capita of all 50 states. We're still doing it in Florida because you always want to do better. But when Elon was at the Doge, there were grants that had been done that we rejected in Florida. We would call Elon and they would cancel it immediately. So there was a lot of what was done that was very, very positive. And I think I've been a pretty big fan of what he's done. The problem is when you do another party, especially if you're running on some of the same issues he talks about, that would end up, if he funds Senate candidates and House candidates in competitive races, that would likely end up meaning the Democrats would win all the competitive Senate and House races. And so, look, I'm a Republican, and I don't want to see that happen. I think if you want to, get involved and hold accountable, we do have a problem in the Republican Party with these D.C. congressmen. They always run saying there's an out-of-control spending and they're going to spend less, and they never do. There's also a gap between campaign rhetoric and then the performance. Elon was doing Doge, and a lot of Congress didn't want to do anything with actually adopting the Doge cuts, just like they haven't wanted to adopt the Trump executive orders on immigration and all those other things, which I think you have to adopt in law if you want them to have staying power. So I think there's a lot of frustration with the gap between their rhetoric in their district and their performance when they get to D.C. But the way you do that is expose that in a primary and show that there's another way around that. So Ron DeSantis is concerned that Elon Musk will cost the Republican Party control of Congress. And I am hoping that fear is well-founded. And I'm hoping that's precisely what Elon Musk does with this Republican or this America Party to challenge the Republican Party. So again, Elon Musk is continuing to wage his war against Donald Trump and the GOP on Epstein, on spending, and on a whole host of other issues. And I think we should do our best to exploit that to the best of our ability. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.